This is my girl, the one and only Miss Emali. That's right, you see her. She's been in the United States for 10 plus years working and living, as well as abroad in London. And today she's going to tell us about all things cross-cultural based on growing up in Nairobi, Kenya.
In Kenya, I'm Kenyan and I belong to a tribe.
Okay.
And that means I speak a different language and I come from a different place geographically. That is as much of a difference you'll get. As opposed to here, you come in and so I live in Utah and I'm like, Utah is predominantly white population, religiously skews towards, like the Latter-day Saints, Mormonism. And so I have to think about, okay, what does that mean and what does that mean for me? And I go to Dallas where there's a lot of diversity, but then there's also a different demographic of people. So I have to think about, okay, how do I adapt to that? That kind of messes with your mind because you always have to go and think about, okay, who am I and how do I make sure that I fit in appropriately? I don't have to do that in Kenya.
So you're gonna just relax into...
I think so. I think I have to struggle differently in Kenya. Like my struggles in Kenya are very different than my struggles in the US.
Okay.
But it's very different to live in a place where you know you're different, you know you're treated differently. Not can be a good or bad way, right? But you know so well that you're different. And you spend more of your time trying to make sure that your indifference doesn't hinder you or doesn't make you seem like... I think you try to fit in, and that's very difficult to do. It's very difficult to do in the US.
I can only imagine.
So you can't tell a Kenyan that, wow, you live less than $1 a day, you're so poor. No, well, I have a farm. Back up country, I may not have money, but I have maize that I can reap and sow. I can show you videos. My grandmother is actually harvesting maize right now. She doesn't have cash in her wallet right now, but she has a farm and she has maize. And she'll harvest her maize and she'll sell it and then she'll make money and she'll have food at the table.
Maize is corn.
Maize is corn. Yes, maize is corn. Sorry, users. Maize is corn. And so my point is that the statement that Africans live less than $1 a day, and so we should so feel pity for them. Absolutely. I think many Africans, we live less than $1 a day for various reasons, which a lot of them are influenced by the Western world and what they came and took away from us, right? Like there's multiple reasons why Africa is poor. But I don't think that I think people should recognize that money is not the only thing that drives happiness and experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some of those other things in Kenya that drive happiness? And what is that currency that you're talking about?
Work. Like we're not, there's no such thing as, I have a double shift or like I have to go work 2 jobs or 3 jobs for this. I'll work 40 hours and I'll have what I just need to be able to put food on the table so I can spend time with my kids during the weekends. Yeah, spend time with the people that I love. And I just want to be able to make enough and have that available and so that my kids can grow up and when they get a job, they can take care of me. That's how the family is, right? Like I don't feel in America that even children have that mentality. Again, it's a difference in mentality. There's no wrong or right. Where like, I'm going to make sure that I can get a good job and get a good living so I can take care of my parents because they took care of me. That whole aspect of family is very, very common, right? Like if I had a brother and he lost his job, and this happened a lot when my mom's siblings, my mom took care of all of her siblings. We lived with all of them. When they were going through college, when they had jobs, they lived with my mother. She would provide food for them. And then when they got away and, got their own families, good for them.
Yeah.
My mother is visiting my grandmother right now. She drove there and helps her harvest the maize and do all of that. And like, it's just that evolving circle where I need to be able to provide so that my kids and my kinship can also be okay and we grow, we elevate each other together. It's very different here.
It's a real sense of familial duty.
Exactly.
Like even community within your family.
Exactly.
Taking care of each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that money cannot be the only currency that you can use to measure happiness and love and experience. And there's different things, and a lot of it comes down to family and making sure that you just have what is necessary. And above and beyond that, I don't care how you look. I don't care.
So what about though, which I love all of that. But what about this sense of striving, where it's like, let me actually make more than enough?
What are you striving for?
What if you're striving for like abundance and financial freedom in a way where you create so much financial freedom that maybe you don't have to work a 9 to 5 anymore. You're maybe working only a couple hours a day doing something you love, and then that money, maybe you're helping other people, but you're certainly living your best life too.
I don't think those two are mutually exclusive,
No.
as you've said, right?
No.
No one is stopping you from striving.
Yeah.
In fact, if you strive, you'll provide even more for your family
And the people you love.
and the people you love.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, what I think is the difference in versus, in America, where the idea of striving is like, like rubbing elbows and pushing people aside.
And it's very
Not
like,
for the most
let
part.
me, the energy of it is like, and it's
Yeah.
like, let me just keep fighting,
Yeah.
as opposed to coming from a place of love, coming from a place of like, let me bring value here.
Yeah.
And instead of like just constantly, how can I get this next?
Yeah.
thing? No, it's an energy.
It's an energy, and also like
Yeah.
I think as a result of that, when you strive, you'll obviously get there, and that's why there is a Bentley that costs $700,000 that I will never be able to afford to buy,
I don't know.
and
what's
then
that. I see it both ways.
and then there's a Toyota
Yeah.
that I may have to put a loan against, but I can afford and pay that, and then that creates such a big gap, because in this country, people are going to deliberately create things that continue to margin that difference, where you know where you are and you know what you can aspire to, right? Like, you can buy a Chanel bag and you can buy a fake Chanel bag that looks the same,
Right.
but they're two different things. And so my point is that striving, I think, in this country comes at the expense of people recognizing that they can never get there, because there's products created for those people. They have strived so much that
Status.
it's a status.
And it's
We
all
don't
tied in
care.
commercialism.
Yeah, when celebrities come to... Have you ever heard of the R&B artist Joe?
Joe?
Yeah, Joe Thomas. I'll
It
play a
seems
song.
It's like, I wanna know
That's him.
what.
That's exactly. My mother told me a story of how Joe came to Kenya.
Joe came to Kenya?
Yeah, he came here to go to... I think he was performing, but then he also stayed there for safari and vacation. And I remember my mom, this is years ago, my mom told me, by the way, he's such a nice person. I went and said hi, because I think they were like at some celebrity concert or whatever. And my mom was just striking a conversation, and Joe told him, you know why I like to come to Kenya? Because nobody gives a shit about me.
That's so nice.
That is true. We don't care about status. We
Okay,
do not
so
care
people
about
just treat
status.
him normal.
Yeah.
Like,
In this country, like, status is important.
yeah.
And that's hard. So of course, when you go to social media and you go online and you look at all of these people and what they have and how they look,
Yeah.
you will strive for that. But when you strive for that, like, that's very dangerous. So I agree with you. You can still strive and still take care of your family,
Right.
but it can't be done at a pace.
What expense?
At what expense? You have to think about that expense, and we haven't gotten to that place.
Yeah, you have one life.
Yeah.
How you spend your time, where you put your energy,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
how you put your energy,
Yep.
it all counts. All.
I agree.
So wondering, how do you think you would feel better in the U.S.? Like, what kind of values would we adopt to live better? Okay,
Love.
just love everyone. Yeah.
Simply love.
Love.
Love is love. I truly believe in that statement, that love is love.
Yeah.
I think that's
Regardless.
simple.
Period.
I think it's simple. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Love is
agree.
love. I think you should be able to judge people after something has happened. Meaning, like, you have to yourself maybe experience something for you to be able to have a view on it, right? And a lot of that is just wrong perception on people and people's behaviors and based on how they look or talk. But I feel like all the underlying thing is just we have to be able to love our neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay,